Back on March 30th, Jon Jones apparently threatens drug-free sport. They went there to get a test at 4 p.m. Jones was allegedly taking a nap, woke up and said that you're here too early, and threatened Martinez is her name, the drug-free sport agent. Now we're waiting for a sentencing, which could be up to 1 year. And he's got 2 misdemeanors that are filed against him. One is a petty misdemeanor, an assault, and the other misdemeanor is him stealing her phone so that she couldn't report that Jon Jones was being uncooperative. He was celebrating his birthday. It was 4 p.m.
A birthday.
A birthday.
A friend's birthday.
So, his cat's birthday?
I think it was something like the story was like he was at a friend's last night and then he came home late and then like just slept in his garage because he was obviously intoxicated to a certain level.
Sounds very familiar to a story that happened previously with him where he also admitted he'd been drinking the night before and then he drove the next day. And I'm pretty sure that's how he got into trouble before as well.
Yeah, maybe I'm confusing things, so maybe just
No, that does seem like perhaps what it is, but...
Yeah, and I think maybe that's why he's sleeping in his garage, because he was just obviously, like, kind of just needed to pass out somewhere.
Maybe it's good temperature in there, you know? Maybe it was a hot day.
Yeah.
Albuquerque, nice and cool in the garage.
Yeah.
Either way, 4 p.m. seems like a reasonable time for people.
To wake up and go, people, why are you guys coming so early?
Yeah, you come really early.
Yeah, people that come in my house, they normally get killed. It's like he's clearly not within himself. That's his first instinct.
How many people have been in his house? And how many people are alive?
Chased that guy away.
What's the ratio?
Ring doorbell, didn't he?
What's his KD ratio?
Well, driving is.
I have to say though, it's got to be like one of the worst jobs. Not like to demean them, but to go into a UFC fighter's house in their own home and then be like, "Please piss." And don't get mad.
And you have to watch it.
Yeah.
All of it.
You have to, but it's also like, must be terrifying initially.
Also,
especially Jon Jones.
One with the history of domestic violence and, you know, assault charges and being reckless behaviour.
He's just a big man as well, very scary man.
Yeah. No, a man who's trained to kill people for a living.
Yeah, you put that man with anyone in the world, Jason, in a room. Jon Jones walks out of the room, you know.
Also, when he takes your phone off you and puts it in his pocket, in
his house.
Yeah, that lady has turned up to do a job. She's just there. I need to take your pee. I know this is uncomfortable, but we got to do it. And then he takes her phone and goes, "That's mine now." Like that's like, oh my god, what is this guy going to do to me? So it's like it's very, very worrying if you're that professional in that situation.
What's crazy is how hush hush it is as well. Everyone's just like, you're on your own. Like the guy that allegedly got threatened outside while he was taking, for some reason, this was the second time. The first time it didn't work. He couldn't pee. So they went outside the second time and the guy came out apparently looking like a ghost after having to deal with Jon Jones, fumbling all over everything. And like, he's like super nervous, like visibly shaken.
And he's the guy who doesn't want to say anything or file a police report. And the girl's like, well, I'm filing a police report. Like, I also don't know why it says when they collected the sample, they went out to the patio. Like, does he not have bathrooms? Like, why are they going out? I know it's not that big of a detail, but why are they going outside to do a piss test?
I think these two people chose the least path of resistance to get the sample off Jones somehow.
And he's like, I'm going to go piss outside. And they're like, sure.
Yeah, and they're just doing whatever they can to get in and get out.
Well, it's worth noting that, you know, they allegedly smelled alcohol in his breath,
so he couldn't walk up the stairs.
Could have been drunk at that time. Maybe he's not in his right mind.
We don't know this for a fact, but I think it's safe to assume that if he wakes up at 4 p.m. and goes, "Why are you guys here so early? Who are you in my garage?" and they smell alcohol, I'm pretty sure it's safe to say he's intoxicated.
I like to side a little with Jon Jones, just a little. He said previously, alcohol doesn't agree with me. I can't drink alcohol anymore. He said that after the Vegas thing with the awards night and he went crazy. He literally said that. If he's drinking, he's put himself in a situation where he's at home on his own. I'm in a garage. That's a safe environment. He's not going to cause anyone any problems. It just so happens that that is when these people also arrived. So if Jon was
what's the argument?
If Jon was in a bad state where he shouldn't be interacting with people because he's still a bit drunk and he knows that's a problem. It's not like he tried. It's not like he went into a scenario purposely to cause problems. It just so happened they arrived at that moment.
He is in a lawful contract to say this will happen to you.
That's true as well. Yeah.
I don't think there is a defense for that. So what you're saying is you've done something that makes you act like a piece of shit.
Yes.
And then someone oh, they should have just not come up to him while he's acting like a piece of shit.
If he's going to do that, he's put himself in a garage alone. He's not in the Vegas Strip.
Yeah, but it's not Yuri's dark room in the woods, is it?
People better not come in Yuri's dark room because he'll probably fuck them up. And like, get out,
So let's talk about the wider implications of this. So you guys got the details, but this is like one of like literally probably 15 or so high profile reports being filed on Jones. What do we make of this? What's happening to Jon Jones in his career right now? Like, is he even going to fight this year?
Well, if he goes to jail, no.
They've got fights in jail, Luke.
Oh, yeah, jail fights.
Undisputed.
Do you reckon they'll put Stipe in there?
He can fight Yuri Boyka.
Yeah, didn't Igor smuggle himself in to fight a mob boss in prison? So.
There you go. Yeah.
Igor Vovchanchin did that? Yeah. Oh, shit.
He'd run out of MMA competition in the real world, had to break into a high security prison to fight the best in some jail in Russia.
No, I mean, realistically, I don't think we're going to see Jones in prison for this. I think there'll be some kind of apology, reconciliation, maybe some money changing hands.
I don't know how the law works, but it does seem a bit he said, she said, right? Unless there's actual evidence. Like, how do they prove who's telling the truth?
Well, the video is allegedly the police did witness the phone video that he took.
And if he's got her phone,
that's only one part of it. He didn't say anything crazy in that video, but it was very obviously hostile. So that goes along with the story.
That's the thing. If there's a video on her phone and you can tell Jones is recording it, that's basically confirming the obstruction of communication.
Exactly. At least one of them.
So he's going to get charged for that. I don't know how you escape that.
How do you set that up? You're like, oh, hey, can you take a video of me and say some like threatening shit to me? That'd be really fun for like a social media.
Yeah, and you can't just be like, I thought it was my phone that I was trying to threaten.
I also said that, like, if Jones is potentially still intoxicated to a certain level.
Yeah, you did say that.
He might not even realize, because she said she put her phone down on the table.
But was it an iPhone or an Android? That's like important. We need to.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. If Jones picks that up thinking, oh, this is my phone, I'm going to call these idiots for being in my house too early, and he doesn't realize it's hers, because why would he? It's very menacing to then put her possession in your pocket. So he might not have just realised and then has fucked up.
It's 4 p.m, not 4 a.m, John.
I don't know if you can have a prisoner as your heavyweight champion.
Oh, it would be so badass. You see what Pride did when they brought Rampage over? They loved it.
But yeah, it's not a great look for your investors, is it?
Definitely not.
Well, let's not forget Khabib Conor.
Yeah, true.
That was used so much, that court case.
True, yeah.
And it was only like a one-day thing. He was in and out, but they used it.
But was at that point, I know Conor was always kind of a bit wild, but like that was like the first big instance, and that was very like fight-centric, that whole thing. Whereas Jones has had a long history of doing shit
if he gets in front of a judge, are they going to look at his previous record and be like, well, you've hit a pregnant woman, you did community service for that, and then you continue to do this, and we had such like... I don't know.
You headbutted a cop car.
Yeah.
So over under, what do you think? It's Jon Jones fight.
I think
they were looking at November is what they were looking at.
What I was going to say is I have no idea what we're going to find out today, but if there's any sort of mention that might be the case, when do the UFC pull the trigger and maybe go, well, now Blades Aspinall is for the official heavyweight belt? Maybe they won't. Maybe we won't find out before that fight.
That's a great point.
But if we do get an inclination of whether he's going to be convicted or not, they might be like, you know what, he's stripped. This is for the official title.
Here's a question for you lads as well, though. How much do you think the UFC and especially like TKO should like support that as well?
I think the UFC is very unhappy with all this stuff. They've had back and forth battles behind the scenes, which we don't even know a quarter of, a tenth of. But in public, we've been seeing Jones battle the UFC on a public sphere for years, notably not even fighting Ngannou because, he wanted more money, blah, 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 whatever it was, which I actually do think he deserved, to be fair there. But I don't think the UFC has ever been on good terms with Jon Jones, at least not for the last 10 years.
Is it literally just down to the fact that despite they don't have a good relationship, the UFC will always choose the money option?
Well, and that's the thing.
Agreed.
That's why we're seeing so much media of Dana professing how pound for pound number one he is. He's like every fucking Q&A he does, someone in the media will ask him, being like, come on, what's going on with Jones? Give us an update. Islam's the best, or Pereira's the new pound for pound, or this and that. And Dana's having to back Jones to the end. every single time is saying, like, how do you people not see he's pound for pound? However, there is so much time building up in between the Garn win to his first defense at heavyweight, in which time they've had a pointless interim fight, and now everyone is excited about the new guy because he's actually fighting. So he's having to keep this spark alive of Jones is the greatest thing. And even, I don't think it was a slip of the tongue, but even said he came up in weight and beat the greatest heavyweight. I think he meant the best heavyweight in a division at the time.
At the time, because there was no one left.
Exactly, there was no one left. So it was like the best of what we got.
And
it
if
wasn't
that's true, why are we seeing him fight Stipe if he's already beaten?
if he's beaten the best in the
If
division.
it wasn't Stipe.
So
Yeah.
he's kind of running in circles to try and cling on to the fact that this is the fight we all want to see and it's the best fight at heavyweight, when we all kind of know, or we all suspect that this isn't true, because we have someone willing to step up and take the challenges on 2 weeks' notice whilst they're injured against a guy who was prepared to make that fight.
That's why it was so surprising, I think, to see Dana make those comments, you know, because I remember after that press conference when he did say Jon Jones is the pound for pound number one, I immediately wrote that down. I was like, whoa, like Dana White speaking nicely about Jon Jones. And he said something else that press conference as well, when he was like, oh, I don't have a comment, because he was talking about the Mike Tyson fight. It was just a strange moment where Dana White is praising Jon Jones and refusing to comment on something. It's like, what is going on today?
I will actually give Dana White credit on that, though. He's been extraordinarily consistent in calling Jon Jones that. I think he actually believes it.
And
as
he tries to
well.
overturn the loss all the time as well, which is true.
Well, that one deserves to be. But anyhow, back to the point. Yeah, to answer Tom's question, 100%. There's no doubt about it. It is a money trail thing.
And sometimes, like, fighters will fuck up, and the UFC will slate them and say, like, terrible, you know, the Habib the Conor bus attack, or even something like the Nashville brawl, or Masvidal punching Colby, right? You're going to get nothing but negative statements from the UFC. But they can use that to sell a fight.
And they will.
They can't use this to sell a fight. There's nothing here about Jon Jones doing this that helps sell Jon Jones.
Women.
So it's like, that's another big problem, and that is another reason they get pissed off, because Jon Jones's stuff is always like this. It never helps sell the fight.
Yeah, but maybe it relates to people
I'd like to
who
see him
stay up all
try,
night.
to be honest.
People that stay up all night, like watching UFC and get up at 4 the next day, but like, I am just like Jon Jones. I relate.
So, you know, I've always thought maybe there'll be a moment where they sort of are disenchanted with Jon Jones. They're done with his bullshit. But Jon Jones is already at the end of his career, and if they haven't yet, they'll never drop Jon Jones. Do you know what I mean? They'll keep running that
I just think it's going to be
narrative.
quite funny when they play the hype promo package for Stipe versus Jones. Stipe's highlights in the promo.
Oh,
I'm going to
man.
all be so fucking old.
Half a decade old.
Yeah, when
no
he
Venom
knocked out
shorts
DC.
anywhere.
Yeah,
Maybe
or
Reebok.
Verdum, that knockout.
Yeah. Well, so final verdict. Jones probably will, you know, they'll figure out a way to make November happen still. But if he gets any kind of sentencing, then I think that changes that. Maybe I go the other way with it. But for right now, I say it probably still happens, but I'm very unsure about that. It very much calls it into question.
This is the year of losing big fights, isn't it? So they've lost their boy with Conor. They fucked that one up. Potentially December. However, they're not going to want to lose another big fight. There are other big pay-per-view star at the moment, you know. So I don't think anything much is going to come of this. It's just another notch in the many problems of Jon Jones outside the cage. But I mean, I'd love to see. I just want to see Tom Aspinall have his chance. Biased or not, I don't give a shit. I think he's the greatest at the moment in the division, and I want to see him either become the champion or fight to become the champion.
Right.
Just make it happen and stop fucking around.
Yeah, I think it's a bad year if you're a glory seeker. You know, if you're a fan of the big names like Conor and all you've wanted to see is Conor fight, that kind of sucks. If you're a Jon Jones fan, and there are people out there with Jon Jones as their favorite fighter, Marshall Mind, right? It's his favorite fighter.
Yeah.
I don't know if it still is anymore, Marshall, mate, because if you're a Jon Jones fan, this has got to be so frustrating. Just year after year of like, he's finally back and now he's gone again. And you've been dealing with that for like almost his entire career.
How can you ever be a fan of the guy?
All right. Well, if you want to hear all of our statements in complete totality, that's going to cost you.
It will.
Yeah, just $2.99. You can sign up now to watch these full unedited podcasts. We do this 2 times a week, so you definitely get your money's worth out of it for less than the price of a cup of
Joe
sandwiches.
Less
Joe Jones.
Fucking, I hate this economy, man.